Hi everybody, I'm Brian Asher, and if you've lost a loved one, I hope this story can inspire you. Not to sit in grief and sorrow, but to go forward and live an inspired life that would make this loved one proud. So here's the story of how brotherly love, after the loss of my younger brother, my best friend, led me to run 3 marathons in 3 weeks across Europe, and how I ended up finishing the 3rd marathon in first place, while being called a Brazilian on national TV in Portugal. 3 full 26.2-mile marathons in 3 straight weekends.
Fiz 3 maratonas, essa aqui é a última. Fiz uma na Suíça, outra na República Tcheca, e essa foi a última, vamos embora na 4ª para a Califórnia.
And visiting 8 countries along the way. Would it be possible? And how would my legs be feeling by the time I got to my 3rd marathon in Lisbon, Portugal? 195 countries, over 450 mountain summited, and 62 full 26.2-mile marathons. Why do I love doing these things, you ask? Well, when I was at the lowest point in my life, after my brother, my best friend, had passed, I was extremely depressed. After 2 months of being miserable and doing almost nothing, I realized I had 2 choices. I could continue to feel sorry for myself, or I could go forward and pursue the things my brother and I had loved to do together, like travel, hiking, and running. So the following summer, I decided to combine 2 of my brother and my favorite things, travel and running.
If you've ever run a marathon, you know that training for 26.2 miles is not an easy task. I had never run marathons in back-to-back weekends, so the idea of scheduling 3 marathons in 3 weekends was a little daunting, especially while traveling through countries I'd never been to in Europe.
But running and travel were giving me a peace of mind and a sense of purpose in life, so I had to go forward with the idea of this new challenge. So off I went to the Czech Republic, and after running my first 26.2-mile marathon of my 3-week adventure, I was still feeling pretty good. So I continued on my way to Austria, Slovenia, and Italy. Despite having visited 5 countries over the last couple weeks and having some tired legs, my spirits were lifted by the enthusiastic locals offering support along the way. So by shortly after midnight, I'd finished the Biel Night Marathon, and having walked all over 5 different countries and run marathons at back-to-back weekends, I was exhausted. But the show had to continue as I had to get across Switzerland, France, and Spain to make it over to Lisbon, Portugal for my final marathon. The Lisbon Echo Marathon would be another night marathon, which meant I had the entire day to wait. I did some walking around town, and by evening time, I was half tempted just to stay in bed rather than get up and run my 3rd marathon in 3 weeks. But I remembered how important it is not only to set goals, but to try your best to accomplish them. So although my legs were feeling like bricks, I headed out to the start of the Lisbon Echo Marathon. So off we went with the crack of the gun, and I told myself that I'd start out a little bit slower and make sure I didn't run out of gas along the way. Despite my legs feeling really heavy, I was pushing forward, imagining my brother running alongside with me, telling me that I was doing great, to keep going, and that I was almost there. So as nightfall started to come and we all turned our headlamps on, I found myself slowly but surely passing one runner after another after another. And with about a mile to go left in the marathon, I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked up ahead and saw the police motorcycle escort with the marathon leader who was a former Portuguese national champion. I started closing the distance on him and passed him with about a half mile to go, and the police escort followed me in towards the finish line.
Eis que surgia o primeiro atleta dos 42 km, a versão longa desta prova solidária e ecológica que tinha saído do Monsanto. É ele, o brasileiro Brian Asher. Conseguiu ultrapassar Eusébio Rosa, que esteve sempre na frente.
And just as exciting for me as winning the marathon was getting called a Brazilian on national TV in Portugal.
É ele, o brasileiro Brian Asher.
Which made my 2.5 years studying and practicing Portuguese every day while living in Brazil completely worth it.
E foi assim o primeiro a passar a linha de meta.
Eu vim para passar 3 semanas na Europa. Na verdade, eu fiz 3 maratonas, essa aqui é a última. Fiz uma na Suíça, outra na República Tcheca, e essa foi a última, vamos embora na 4ª para a Califórnia. Então a viagem já está acabando e fiz as 3 maratonas, essa aqui com a última, que ganhei. Não ganho muito, então foi muito surpresa para mim e estou muito feliz.
Em segundo lugar, eis que surge Eusébio Rosa, que demorou mais um minuto a fazer a ligação de 42 km entre a Serra do Monsanto e o centro de Lisboa. E de imediato mostramos o pódio dos homens, que percorreram os 42 km. Brian Asher sobe ao ponto mais alto do pódio, instalado no Parque Eduardo VII. Eusébio Rosa ficou em segundo lugar e Diogo Baena fechou este trio vencedor.
And so that's the story, how I fought forward against the grief of losing my brother through running, and how this brotherly love inspired me to run 3 marathons in 3 weeks across Europe, and how I ended up winning the Lisbon Echo Marathon. I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm trying to go forward and live an inspired life that would make my brother proud. And if you've lost a loved one, I would really encourage you not to sit in grief for too long, but to go out and to live a full life that would make them proud as well. If you like my travel videos, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons. And thanks again for your support as I visit every country in the world.